please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Captain's Log, Subdates 230811.6. The plan for the weekend is to continue our efforts to ruin and/or remove Bok's anal cavity to get to our ace in his hole. While that goes on, I'll be recording his screams for a metalcore EP I've decided to start working on. Welcome everyone to This Week at X. I'm seriously considering changing the acronym to Earwax. Every angry R words week at X, because I'm not allowed to say certain words on YouTube anymore, and it's not called Twitter beyond the URL, it is just X. I'm considering it. We shall make our mind up soon, don't worry. We'll see if this is a fad or not. So to start this week at X, let us begin with some discussions concerning streamers that sole content, or the majority of it, is reacting to YouTube videos. Now, reaction videos have over the years been royally, absolutely flayed. There's a difference between a reaction and a response, by the way. A lot of what you see on Twitch, though, is a reaction, because it's not as concise, it is not a good point, a lot of it is abuse of fair use. Some people even go so far as to leave a room, leaving the video playing, which is what you see on the screen now, in the form of XQC. Into a video he leaves 5 seconds in, returning 10 minutes later to make a mockery out the fact he is not reacting. The argument usually is that if you are a streamer, you are leading to more views and promotion of the content. However, big point to make here, that's only applicable if people go and look at the video. If you've played the video in its entirety and offered nothing transformative to it, you have not sent them that way. Neo Explains here has proven the point. The video that XQC was not reacting to in the slightest led to no significant increase in viewership at all. So the point is moot and redundant. I have little to no respect for reaction streamers. There is a vitally different important point between that of someone who just sits there and does that on stream and those who offer a response. I do response videos all the time to points. Count Dankula here. There are commentary reaction channels who watch my stuff, but the reaction video is 5 times the length of my video because they keep pausing to talk about it. That is a shit ton of commentary, so I don't care. Then there is whatever the F this is. Theft. That's what it is. XQC and Hassan Piker are renowned for it, both making phenomenal sums of money from leeching off of other people while offering nothing in the way of commentary for that. If you're that desperate to put something on while you leave the room, have some music teed up that you have the rights to, or play a video that you own the rights to, or put a "I'll be back in a moment" thing on the screen, some royalty-free music on. Yeah, Hassan's done this, by the way, where he's left a video running because he needed to, and I'll quote him, poop. Okay, when questioned on this by H3H3, XQC got really defensive about it. Really defensive. And I know a lot of people like to defend XQC here, but on this channel I'm going to hold a certain standard of integrity when it comes to fair use. XQC flouts it. So my view is violating fair use means you are stealing content. So when H3 held him to the mark, he responded with the following.
People would rather watch me full screen cam do the fucking worm than watch your prime.
Bro, do it for a week. Do a week of no reaction content and see how many fucking views you get. Oh, he's crying in the corner. Oh, okay, sure. I mean, that's content, man. It's original content at least. Yes, do that, bro. Dude, do a week.
Fucking love it, man. Bro, this is the most money you've had in the past fucking 4 years, bitch.
It's awesome.
But he didn't just respond with that. He also responded later by sending messages to Ethan Klein, dabbing on him about the cost of his watch compared to that of Ethan's house. This is not a flex. But Ethan did later on apologize to Hassan Piker because he got Hassan to admit during an episode that he essentially steals content and that stealing is cool, while also calling XQC a thief bitch and calls for a lawsuit. I'll play that clip as well.
I'm not surprised he's stealing people's videos. He steals people's money too.
His attitude on this, by the way, is look. You're talking to someone who do not care about IP in the same way that you do. We have differing opinions on it.
You think that you should be able to take people's videos and re-upload them wholesale?
Well, not necessarily. I think
not necessarily.
I think you should still abide by certain standards, but overall, I don't really care. I don't really care if someone rips my IP.
No, but you're talking about IP law, or are you talking about what your preference is?
My personal preference is, and what I think.
Yes, Hassan Piker is defending XQC on this because he does this shit on his streams too all the time. Also, there are rules and laws in place on IP. Yes, those standards have existed for decades. On YouTube, we have terms of service and fair use. Even Twitch have those rules, and I believe Kick does as well. I mention Kick because obviously XQC is over there now. But Hassan's not done yet, and I want to give you all the additional context of his everyone should just have access to everything but with some kind of standards thought process.
My personal preferences and what I believe and how I believe IP should be run is significantly more
How should IPs be run? How should IPs be run?
I think that there should be a similar structure to how patents are supposed to exist for all content creation, that after a certain amount of time has passed for like television productions or for even movies in general, that IP should be completely lifted and you can make derivative works off of that with ease.
That's like a 50-year scope.
Not even a 50-year scope. I think it should be shorter than that. Okay. That's number one. Number two, I think that as far as like rigorous control over IP, I personally don't have it. I don't believe in it. I don't think it's a good thing.
What do you mean you don't believe in it? I don't understand what that means. You think that people should be able to steal your videos and upload it?
Yeah, which is why I have...
Why? How is that fair to anybody?
Just before I get to my final point of this, before we actually move on to another subject, I generally have a rule when it comes to my content. If you want to re-upload it, that's fine. But when it comes to main channel content or any other channel I use, at least a week. If it's something that is long form, a month. Because I've put a lot of time into that. I really have. I don't flag people. There are channels that have outright re-uploaded my content. I'm not bothering to claim it because I don't want to. I don't need to, because I'm not going to get many views. I'm really not, compared to that of Hassan and XQC. People need to be more thoughtful as a community within YouTube especially, or Twitch, of other people's content on other platforms, and respect the fact that not all of us are okay with this. If someone flags you for this, by the way, you deserve it, because you haven't asked for permission and your argument is, oh, I'm just driving up traffic for you, that's a good thing. That's not necessarily the case. And unless you link back to the original person, which on streams is unlikely, especially the size of Hassan and XQC, you are not doing anything to help them at all. If all you do is watch someone's content while offering little to nothing in the way of commentary, you have not made it transformative, have you? You have used it while you've sodded off. I'm afraid that is a violation of fair use, and it's a point I've made multiple times. Defend Hassan or XQC all you like in the comments, and be as uber thick and pedantic as you like about reaction, commentary, response. But my point still stands because typically with commentary, there is fair use that is abided. It's why when you see response videos from me, on Omegon 2 especially, the clips are shorter and I speak a lot because I'm English and we prattle on. It's why this particular part of This Week at X is quite long. Fair use must be abided on all platforms. If you think yourself above it, chances are you've got too much money and you're full of yourself, which usually is shit. Okay, so this next topic might get the video demonetized. Andrew Tate was trending on Twitter. The reason why is because, and courtesy of Tristan Tate's, judges have released me from house arrest. It doesn't matter how many fake screenshots haters share on X. Imagine having spent 2 years running an account showing old videos saying I'm guilty, losers. Justice is justice, the law is the law, evidence is evidence, I am free. Apparently Tristan Tate, yes, he was given a sock. Now while they have been allowed to leave their home, they are not allowed to leave Romania, as I believe this is currently going through a judicial review. I am quite interested by this, because this could become a Halls of Injustice topic. I know people like Andrew and Tristan are quite polarizing. I find it all quite amusing, really, because there is a larger and wider societal point. Recently, the Tates spoke to Tucker Carlson from their home in Romania, where at that point they were still under house arrest. They believe, once this is all cleared up, they will instead focus their business ventures on the Middle East because the US has become too crime-ridden and woke. If there's any truth to that or not, I'll let you all decide. I just want to put topics in a video that I think might spark more of a conversation in the comments. The Tates are a very polarizing group, pairing, brother thing, yeah? That. and the accusations against them, I firmly believe, need to be properly hashed out in a court of law, if possible, because I do firmly believe, regardless of how polarizing they are, in innocence until proven guilty. I really do believe that. So moving on. So next, Sorel. Feminist frequency was such a bizarre phenomenon, because every video was just Anita Sarkeesian going, "It would be cool if women in video games could have thoughts and feelings," and this netted her a decade of unceasing death threats. It's just love history revisionism from an idiot. And this is because feminist frequency is shutting down. The totally not-for-profit started by Anita Sarkeesian, the Kickstarter that never delivered, multiple in fact, where she called out sexism in video games, while also showing off her own hypocrisy and the fact she knew sod all about video games because she herself was not actually a gamer. She also believes there's no such thing as sexism against men because prejudice and power and men are the dominant gender. Okay, that makes sense. That's why we willingly allow children to be mutilated at birth to this day, because prejudice and power. An ardent proponent of listen and believe. A fraud, basically. Sorel is an idiot. Anita Sarkeesian is actually one of the main reasons I started as a YouTuber, why I started to upload content, because her disingenuous takes on the video game industry and video game models, the stories, was hysterical to me. And while she has received a considerable amount of flack over the years, a lot of it was deserved. Some went too far, of course, but that does not take away from the criticism aspect, and you clearly don't know your history. I lived through this on the internet, and I remember it very well. She started a Kickstarter to make a series of videos. She never made all the videos. She then started another one and didn't deliver on those either. She made all the accusations on the face of the earth at men, misogyny, patriarchy, gamers. She went after everyone that was male, that is, anyway. The only success she had was when Jonathan McIntyre was writing everything for her. He went on to do some pop culture detective thing that did vastly better than she did, because Fem Frequency went the way of the dinosaurs. So good riddance, Feminist Frequency. Nothing of value was lost, beyond investors' money. Although I have it on good authority, you did win a Peabody Award last year. Congratulations.
Listen here, Willie Mac, alright? You did a damn good series on these, like, T-channels, right? You blew them the f*** out. Belle, Aubrey, Repzilla, all them motherfuckers, you exposed them for the pieces of shit they are.
And while we're in the ballpark of nothing of value being lost, Tipster recently unfollowed me. Turns out my criticism hurt him. What a shame. Perhaps if you'd listened to me, understood that perhaps I have a point, and not been such a disingenuous hack, whose channel is dying worse than mine is, you'd perhaps have a better chance at pressing on. I do start to question, though, the group DMs we used to have with others, and some of your behaviours within it, where I now start to wonder if you were just trying to use us to white knight for you. Feels a bit snakish, doesn't it? Next, Disney remakes, original cartoon, live-action remake. Undoomed tweeted this. I am offering no comment, but I think it'd be very, very funny if Tarzan gets a live-action remake, and that's what you get. Can you not just use the guy from True Blood's version? That was alright. Or maybe replace Tarzan entirely with the guy who did the live-action version from True Blood's brother, and make it Pennywise. The final thing I want to cover today, the Washington Post. LGBTQ+ communities in the Middle East face a growing crackdown, mirroring efforts by the American conservatives to restrict the rights of gay and transgender people. Included is a Washington Post article. Sticks Hexenhammer underneath. Ratio! No, choosing not to drink Bud Light is not like tossing people off of 10-story buildings or beheading them. Fascinating, isn't it? The Washington Post got 426 likes. Sticks got 786. Later, he retweeted the Washington Post tweet with, "It's ratio time, no!" And he again ratioed them. The article itself is rife with false equivalents. The problem you have is when you start to compare two totally independent problems, and they really are that, you run the risk of downplaying one severity and trying to prioritize the other. In this, it's very obvious what you're trying to prioritize, 100%. But by doing so, you believe you have a point. You don't. Culturally, there are so many vast differences between that of America and that of an entire region, i.e. the Middle East. It is disingenuous to try and push the message, knowing that in one country it is vastly more acceptable to another, for very many different reasons. That's not to say in all areas, because I never said that. Don't be that person. I think the point is quite clear, and if you try and look at this through a westernized lens into areas of this world where a westernized lens does not apply, you will struggle to understand the vastly different cultural practices, regardless if they are accepted or not. Of course, I would love for everyone to be accepted for who they are everywhere around the world, but I truly believe the only way to attain actual legitimate equality is for No Lives Matter to be the mantra of the planet. Because if no lives matter, I have officially then torn all of you down to your base level, and you are then equal. Because no one seems to know how to elevate everyone to be equal.